Good evening, I'm Fanashe and you're watching AWANI Tonight. Just a few hours before polling day and we are live here at Sungai Buloh R&R to feel the excitement of voters who may be stopping by en route to their hometown to cast their ballots. Now, leaders of the three main coalitions made their final pledges to Malaysians tonight as they try to convince voters to support their parties tomorrow. Barisan Nasional Datuk Seri Ahmad Zahid Hamidi and Perikatan Nasional Tan Sri Muhyiddin Yassin both went live on their social media accounts earlier tonight, while Pakatan Harapan's Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim is expected to make a similar speech later at 10 p.m. Now, with the final few hours of campaigning left, have voters decided? And if they have not, what will sway them as they go to the polling centres tomorrow? Let's bring in political analyst Mujibu Abdul Muiz. Hi Mujibu, thank you so much for being here. It's so nice to finally see you in person.
Yeah, thank you so much for inviting me here, Farhana.
Now, so fresh off Datuk Seri Ahmad Zahid Hamidi's speech and also Tan Sri Muhyiddin Yassin's speeches, reiterating the promise and pledges by Barisan Nasional, also Perikatan Nasional. What do you make of this announcement, so close to polling day, with a few hours left to campaigning? And do you think they will be able to sway the voters who are still undecided?
Yeah, I think this is the last minute attempt from each and every them to give some personal touch on their messages in order to lure, especially when we are having kind of wild voters, especially when they are very last minute decision in deciding who's going to receive their vote for tomorrow. So I think it is a very good and clever attempt, simply because we simply see throughout 2 weeks of campaigning, it is very unlikely for them to reach out as many as possible. And of course, when you talk about an election, personal touch to convince the voters, especially the new and young voters, need to be done in order to get their attention and attract votes towards their party.
Now, drawing on that a little bit, Mujibu, G15 has been coined as the battle for the Malay voters. What is your assessment of the campaigning for the past 2 weeks, especially for Malay voters?
Yeah, I agree with the situation where the battleground for Malay voters will be the core of this GE15, simply because this is the first time we can simply see Barisan Nasional, especially UMNO, really face some tough challenges when this Perikatan Nasional form between PAS and Bersatu, which is really can steal the Malay votes, and of course it depends on how many votes that they can steal from each other. And if this happens, PH will stand a chance to win that particular thing. And of course, when you talk about PH stronghold in majority non-Malay seats, especially in urban and suburban area, this is very tricky in terms of if no party reach to that particular 112 numbers tomorrow. So whoever's going to have the upper hand in dealing with any parties in order to form the government, that party need to have a majority Malay seats in order to get at least a stable government for a certain period of time.
Yeah, that's definitely my next question for you, which is, who will be the next coalition to form the government, right? So Ilham Center has projected that PH to be the biggest bloc so far, with BN and PN in the second place and third place. What configuration of government can we expect from this projection, you think?
Yeah, the problem is we already knew that each and every party have their own caveat on how they are going to form this kind of coalition. And of course, when you talk about PH, DAP will be the biggest problem of PH. And of course, disdaining DAP from PH is like you are cutting them into a half. And of course, nobody is going to give you that particular numbers if you are cutting a big party, let's say winning like a maximum 90 seats out of 222 tomorrow. And of course, you have another possibility of retaining the status quo in having the Perikatan Nasional and Barisan Nasional plus GPS to form the government. But somehow you need to understand that the caveat between Barisan Nasional UMNO not having any possible cooperation with Bersatu is highly what we call, it is a deadlock between this particular discussion between them. So, but I still believe that whoever command a majority seat, especially Malay seat, will have upper hand in discussing this coalition.
Yeah, it's definitely something interesting to look at. This GE15 is quite different from last GE14. Now, looking at Sungai Buloh here, right? A PH stronghold for the past 3 terms. With PH winning, the majority in GE15, here, especially in Sungai Buloh, do you think the Khairi Jamaluddin factor will bring a win for BN this time?
Yeah, understanding how the so-called hot seat come into an action simply because there is a possibility of 2 heavyweight contesting in each other, and of course the other possible scenario is a very heavyweight name have been put by their party to contest in a very risky constituency like Khairi Jamaluddin. And of course, if you follow closely, he have come with good narrative by giving a hope. And of course, this narrative is like sending Khairi Jamaluddin as the next Prime Minister, which is very good because he have disdained himself from UMNO, which is very unlikely to be voted by the fan-sitters. And of course, when you're talking about Sungai Buloh with 2,000 something majority, and of course additional new voters around 40,000, this is very good strategy for Khairi Jamaluddin to come with a good narrative, disdaining himself from UMNO, which is very possible to be backlash by the new voters as well.
Yeah, that's definitely something that we want to look forward to. This G15, possibly a new spirit, a new change in political scene right now.
Okay.
All right, thank you so much, Mujibu, for your time.
Farhana.
Rambut saya. Ya, lakukannya. Walau apa pun anda lakukan, jangan risau. Sunset baharu dengan vitamin C, minyak argan dan elastin dalam Active Infusion untuk rambut lembut mengurai dengan haruman berpanjangan. Bebaskan rambut cantik anda dengan Sunset baharu.
Membawakan perkembangan terkini Pilihan Raya Umum Malaysia ke-15.
Kupasan dan analisis isu semasa bersama pakar tempatan.
Menampilkan tetamu jemputan dalam industri.
Angkat aspirasi rakyat, suara anda kami dengar.
Perbincangan kami bawakan
Hingga malam penentuan siapakah yang bakal dipilih Takbir Negara.
Bersama kami dalam Malaysia Decides
Hanya di TBS.
Welcome back. Elections for the Padang Serai parliamentary seat will not take place tomorrow, following the death of Pakatan Harapan's candidate M. Kurapaya. In its meeting today, the Election Commission confirmed that the entire election process must be redone and that the polling day for the seat will be held on December 7th.
Nomination day for Padang Serai's candidates will be held on November 24th, after which there will be a 13-day campaigning period until polling day on December 7th, a Wednesday. Online applications for postal voting will be open from today until November 22nd. Kurapaya passed away on Wednesday due to heart complications after attending a campaign in Kulim. He was slated to defend the Padang Serai seat this Saturday in a 6-cornered fight against Barisan Nasional's Datuk Sivaraj Chandran, Pejuang's Hamzah Abdul Rahman, Perikatan Nasional's Datuk Azman Nasruddin, Warisan's Muhammad Bakri Hashim and independent candidate Ananda AK.
A polling station in Dengkil, Sepang has been forced to change after it was inundated with floodwaters due to flash floods that hit the district yesterday. Sekolah Rendah Agama Dengkil is now the new polling centre for the Sepang parliamentary constituency, replacing Sekolah Jenis Kebangsaan Tamil Dengkil.
Selangor officials had announced that SJKT Dengkil was fully submerged in floodwaters on Thursday. Following this, it requested Sepang officers for Sekolah Rendah Agama Dengkil to be used as the new polling centre. A letter was also sent today prompting the EC to re-gazette the polling centre. Sepang is seeing an 8-cornered fight for GE15, including Anwar Basiran of BN, Datuk Sri Rina Harun of PN, Datin Cik Asma Ibrahim for Pejuang, Raj Muni Aiman Atira Sabu for PH, Muhammad Daud Leong Abdullah for Parti Utama Rakyat, R. Nageswaran for Parti Rakyat Malaysia, and independent candidates Muhammad Shahrul Amri Matsari and M. Muniswaran.
Some good news ahead of polling day. Several states will experience good weather tomorrow. According to Met Malaysia, there will be no rain in the morning for Kuala Lumpur and Perlis, as well as good weather in Malacca and Labuan in the afternoon.
Good weather in the morning and afternoon is also expected in Putrajaya. Met Malaysia predicts thunderstorms and rain to occur in most states in the afternoon, especially the East Coast states, namely Pahang, Terengganu and Kelantan, as well as the northern states, Perlis, Kedah, Penang and Perak. Over in East Malaysia, good weather in Sarawak is forecasted in the morning, but there will be rain in some areas across the state in the afternoon. Meanwhile, in Sabah, 4 areas, Papar, Kimanis, Beaufort and Sipitang, are expected to experience rain and thunderstorms in the morning and afternoon.
Despite fair weather predictions, voters should still remain cautious this weekend. 18 districts in 7 states have been hit by floods, with over 3,300 victims recorded so far. The Irrigation and Drainage Department has also issued flash flood warnings across 9 states within the next 24 hours.
The affected states are Perak, Penang, Selangor, Negeri Sembilan, Melaka, Johor, Terengganu, Sabah and Sarawak. Some hotspots in the peninsula include Klang and Petaling in Selangor, Kerian and Hilir Perak in Perak, as well as Batu Pahat and Pontian in Johor. Meanwhile, Kuching, Limbang and Bintulu in Sarawak, as well as Beaufort in Sabah, could also face floods. For more information on flood-prone areas in these states, refer to publicinfobanjir.water.gov.my.
While overseas voters cast their ballots for G15, a group of Malaysian volunteers are racing to make sure their votes count. Tharma Pillay, co-founder of UDI 18, shares how they are helping to bring ballots home.
The Vote Malaysia initiative is an initiative by UDI 18 and 18 other youth organizations throughout the world. And the intention is this, to make sure that the bringing back and the delivery of postal votes from around the world is done in an effective, transparent and quick manner so that these votes can count for elections. As of today, I'm proud to say that we have brought and we are going to send out more than 32,000 ballots all over Malaysia from all 222 parliamentary districts. So I think this is something that is a huge improvement over the previous process, especially since we know that there are many issues that were there previously. So some of the issues that we faced were delays in terms of receiving votes. There are some voters overseas who are only going to get their votes or their ballots after the election is done. There are also many issues in terms of documentation. Missing information, missing documents, misplaced or misidentified addresses. So these are all problems that were there that made it very difficult for Malaysian voters overseas to be able to deliver on their right to vote.
Before we end the show tonight, let's hear your thoughts on G15. The question of the day is displayed on the screen. Share your answers by scanning the QR code on the screen. That's all for Awani tonight. I'm Fanache. Thank you for watching and we'll see you at the polls tomorrow.